I wanted to share some of our history process, and I want to preempt this by saying we're in 7th grade. We've done a huge amount of scaffolding work up to this point, and this is the first time that I am officially introducing essay in essay form. And before that, we have done tiny little steps to get us there. Paid attention to how paragraphs are formed, started with the sentence, moved to the paragraph, talked about the paragraph, outlined other people's paragraphs, then outlined our own paragraphs. And we did various narrations, but the narrations were smaller. We've done narrations for a really long time, starting with oral narrations that I wrote down for her and we edited together, transitioning to written narrations. And this year, with this history unit, we are introducing essays. So these are some of the examples of her narrations last year. They were by topic as we studied them. So we did Native America all last year, and we did that by opening with general and then studying. This is still the general stuff. One nation at a time, and different themes went along with each nation. Like this is the Haudenosaunee, and I know because this is a wampum, and we studied the Great Peace Wampum. And the moon went with this nation. Anyway, we did our narrations nation at a time. And this year, we are using a couple tools from the World History Project, which is a free history project by OER online. They also do the Big History Project, which is also free. They have some excellent tools for analyzing and understanding history, and we are using some of those. One is one that is very familiar, and of course this is not high school level, so this is toned down for middle school level, but we started with a Venn diagram of comparison, compare and contrast of the European explorers that discovered the Old World, because there are two old worlds, and a generalization of the natives that lived there. So what was the same, what was different about them? And then we're going to use this to do a compare and contrast analysis paper. So we started with an outline, and I explained when you're doing history narration, and we're still calling it narration, you start with an introduction and give contextualization. So we went over things in general about these societies before they met, and we're specifically talking about the Europeans, so the conquistadors, the French, Dutch, Portuguese, English, Eastern European explorers, and contrasting that to the natives that they came in contact with. So these natives are including North and South America, like it's all of the Americas at this point. So then I put paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and 3. We haven't done the conclusion yet, so this we did in a couple of days. Actually, we haven't finished it because I'm going to do the conclusion. And she's moving a little faster than what I originally anticipated. So I put the paragraphs as introduction, paragraph 1.1, paragraph 2.2, paragraph 3. And we talked about different ways that we could organize this. We were going to talk about compare and contrast. What are the different ways we can organize it? We can talk about all the ways that they are the same, and then talk about all the ways they are different. Or in the way that she wanted to organize it, we can go through each topic, like farming, disease, hygiene, and discuss how they were the same and how they were different. We also kind of talked about a thesis statement, but not really. I brought that to her by saying, do you think they were more alike or more different? And then she chose, and then we will work towards that. So this was our outline based upon our Venn diagram that we had done earlier. And then she sat down today. I was planning on doing 1 or 2 paragraphs at a time where she just gets her thoughts onto paper. And she was a little excited about this project because I think she completed all the paragraphs that we had outlined. We do not have the conclusion outlined, and I will talk to her about what a conclusion should look like later. But she has this down, and what we will do now is go through and make sure it's in the order that she wants and that all the sentences are relative to what we're talking about. And then we will go through paragraph by paragraph and talk about transition and flow, and if our paragraphs are backing up our introduction, like what the statement that we made in our introduction, which she decided they were more different than they were alike. So that is what will do. And if you have seen me do language arts before, it will be basically the same process that we do for other narrations, which you can find in my highlights over the years in language arts programs. And we will just work through at a little bit of a slower pace because this is a big project, doing that editing process until we have it. And just so you know, I mean, this is like the equivalent of several of her other narrations, which we might have done like a week at a time or 2 weeks at a time. And what I am going to do here is only have 2 writing projects for this block. Our block will be 3 to 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks, and there's only 2 writing projects that we're gonna do. One is this one, and we will work on that. And then towards the end, we will do a change and continuity through time, which also is a tool from the Big History project that I was talking about. That's a free online history curriculum, high school age. We will do a smaller, more age-appropriate version for her at the end, and that editing of that narration will bleed into our next block, which happens a lot. But that also will be the perfect analysis tool for the Columbian Exchange, which is all the different things that were exchanged, including disease and food and ideas and different things like that. When there was constant contact between the European nations and the North and South America, when there was contact on a regular basis from Afro-Eurasia and the Americas. So we will be using that tool, and then after we do that project and use that tool, we will work in the same way, very slowly, and outlining the changes and the things that remain the same, and writing another narration or paper based upon that. So it's a very slow process, very baby steps, one tiny piece at a time. This is her first introduction, so there's a lot of hand holding, which is how it's supposed to be. We do it together, and then you learn to do it on your own. So that is what we're working on, and I wanted to share that process with you. So I hope it's helpful to some of you. Let me know if you have any questions.